Yani, that is the perfect way for us to kick off this next segment. What was that you just played?
That's a song that was inspired. I was actually in India when we were doing a heavily choreographed musical based on a book by a guy called Richard Bach, B-A-C-H, called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So we wrote a musical play around it. It was about a little bird, a little seagull who was trying to rise from the oppression of a crowd and find their own wings. You get what I mean? So the song is actually called Seagull in the Sky. And the last line is, "There is a way." So it was kind of a hope, aspirational type of song.
That you composed?
Yeah.
Yo, I thought you were playing some classical. Okay, well, this second part of it, you're going to be playing a lot of music. I mean, I can sing for you. I'm just joking about it.
We should do a cameo.
no, but just because I really think you're gifted, and I want people to experience a bit more of that. Okay. So as we have the conversation, I'll just ask you to randomly play something. Okay, let's now, and it's going to be a lot more musical. Let's talk about some of the big people that you have worked with, and I'm going to start with none other than, we talked about Pete. If you talk about Pete Odera, you have to talk about Ted Josiah.
Ted, I can't remember. There was a point where Pete said, "There's this friend of mine, and he just, he's like really good with all this, and he wants to, get a chance in the studio. Could he come to your place?" And I said, "Okay, fine." And they came over. It was Ted, very quiet, very laid back. I didn't know him, so I gave them time in the studio. I guess they did some beats, and because Pete and Ted were tight like this. Mm-hmm. And that's the first time I met Ted. The next time, I started reading about him because he had this knack of putting beats together, and I think he was working in a studio formed in Nairobi by a member of Mombasa Roots. Mombasa Roots was a really famous club band in Mombasa. Mm-hmm. And he'd come up with all these beats and commercials and adverts, and we just meet from time to time. We sort of had a cursory sort of relationship with each other. Got to the point once where when we were doing basic expos and concerts, Pete's group, which was called Heart, H-A-R-T, would sometimes come, and Ted was a member of that group. And a singer called the late Sally Oyugi, she was a great singer.
Yeah.
So he was a member of that group. So we always interacted. Once in a while, I would do, he got to where he had his own studio, started producing his own acts, really good sound, great stuff. And we got to where sometimes he would allow me to do one or two of the acts I was recording in his studio. So it got to where now he was doing me the favor. And what I liked is his instinct for sound, for the right, he's very meticulous, very fussy in the studio about getting the right sound, the right mix, mm-hmm. and the right, I don't think he's doing very much of that now, but his sound was really good.
Yeah.
I liked that. It was very good to see his evolution. He kind of almost became a mini industry by himself.
Yeah, he did.
He got his stable of artists.
Then a mate of ours came from the UK and gave us a keyboard and a sequencer and I started making the music myself. I just started making the music myself and composing the stuff myself. And that's when Pete and I actually joined forces and started Heart. So in Heart is where I got a lot of my understanding of how to produce music and play my role in a band. My role wasn't really leadership of the band, but more the bed, mm-hmm. the music of it all, the reasoning behind the music, when we go out to minister, why we are going to use these songs as opposed to these songs, and how we're going to do our intros, our outros, how we're going to dress. And I would just leave Pete to do his thing on stage, and I'd be playing the drums and putting the sequencer on, and so I was literally the engine of the band.
Yeah.
but not,
the face.
You never see the engine, it's in a bonnet. Yeah, so people would see me but not really see me. They would see Pete, and they would see Sally and Esther because they were in the front. And then I realized, actually, I'm comfortable developing musicians.
Again, I can't talk. And now when you talk about heart, you have to mention Five Alive.
Five Alive, where did I first see them? I think I had attended something in Baptist church. There again through Pete, because Pete knew Eric Wainaina and all those other people. And they started off as an a cappella group who sounded out of this world. There was Victor Say, Eric Wainaina, I forgot the names of the 5 of them. And they would walk into a church. They started off as a gospel group, interesting. They'd walk into a church singing and people just start crying. Eric has this voice that is just really, 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 and he honed his skills, I guess, when he went to Berkeley. An extremely talented musician. He's gone on to run his own production facility.
You didn't produce for Eric anything at the time?
Actually, no. I know he came to one of the musicals as a younger person, but didn't stay. I guess we didn't interest him enough. Didn't stay for those things. But there was a commercial we did once, Brookside Milk or something like that.
You're the one who did the 5
with the Five Alive. Yeah, that time I was my co-producer. At that time was a guy called Gabriel Omondi, another incredible musician who is no longer doing music. But I remember doing that, and I think I had Eric once or twice in the studio after that on some commercials, which I actually don't remember. I actually don't remember them.
So let me ask you guys, at this time, have you been in a studio?
At this time, no, not yet. I think we did a bit of studio work for the Brookside commercial, sort of 1995. And we
the ad which was on TV that made you guys superstars.
I don't know about superstars.
Dude, I was the youth. I was
wow.
the
Yeah.
youth.
So yeah, we got called to do this thing. I guess also Chris had a couple of connections in the advertising world, right? Because he's always sort of been in media, like his father was always a newscaster back in the day as well, and was the voice of the NAC government. Did you know that?
No, I
Sammy
didn't.
Louis is Chris's dad. So, and so we got called to do an ad, and we were paid 50K. 50K. This is what year 94 or 95 was. They're like, we are millionaires. Let's go buy a plane right now. Yeah,
Read it.
Come on, man. 50 G's. It was beautiful. So that was our first experience, and then we went and shot the video for that. It was cool. It was cool. And what ended up happening was that we were doing our first big concert like 3-4 months after that, and so just the ad really put us in people's living rooms, and we were actually doing that concert as a fundraising effort because we'd been invited to play some gigs in Europe.
Okay, that's crazy. That ad was huge, especially for us who at the time were pre-teens or just entered our teens. No, actually just entered our teens. That was a huge commercial because it's got this commercial with Five Alive. You didn't do anything with Jimmy Gatho, did you?
No, I didn't. I knew Jimmy Gatho, but we sort of just were there. We were on the scene. He was also a very good singer, really good. Yeah, he retired.
Yeah. Jimmy needs to also come here. Anyway, so I heard you say you did some stuff for Ruben. Can you play any of the stuff or?
Ruben Kigame, yes, his first album. Can I remember? There was a song in Swahili called Jahazi. Now imagine that with 4-part harmonies and an acoustic guitar. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. And there were like 15 or 12 to 15 songs beautifully, Dunia ni shangwe, da 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 da. You know, all of those beautiful songs. He is a very good composer. He writes really, really beautiful songs. Really, really, really good. He has a studio in
Eldoret, yep. He's actually going to be on the Playhouse soon. Once this
Ruben, wherever you are, show up.
No, he's actually agreed. It's just it's a Rona preventing us from moving county to county.
Yeah, we went. What else did we do with Ruben?
So you did like 12 songs off that album?
I think it was the whole album, 12 to 13 songs. I can't remember how many. I don't know if it was ever released, but they were beautiful. He was still in KU, a student in KU at that time.
What?
Yeah, and he had this quartet, two ladies, two men, including him, and he was the guitarist. They absolutely beautiful songs, all in Swahili. That's what got me. Beautiful Kenyan gospel songs in Swahili. Beautiful stuff. He's a very good songwriter.
Okay, you mentioned some of this earlier as in the first part of the interview, and your wife's albums, and I want us to just hear. Let's walk through the journey. What inspired some of the songs, if you can remember?
Yeah. The first album was called Kuvuna. Harvest, and I was inspired by the music from a movie called Cry Freedom, the South African, the story of Steve Biko. I love that South African thing, and I wanted it to sound like that. I can't do that just on the piano, but the first song was called Kuvuna, and I wanted it in that genre. And she has a sister who is married down south, and so I asked her to translate the words into
Xhosa or
Zulu. It was sung in that language and also in English. Kuvuna means harvest, and so it was Kuvuna, they say in that language. Well, I would try to put. We couldn't sing with the clicks, so I overdubbed that. You know.
That means it was Xhosa.
Yeah. So it was interesting. That was a nice. So there were some of her songs, my songs, our songs.
When you say your songs, it means
she's a composer. She writes.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Incredible songs too.
Can you play something off that first album, if you can remember anything?
Yeah. Let me do something different here.
And by the way, you can sing. I don't even know you're saying you can't sing. You have.
This is from Psalm 1, a song of hers. Blessed is the man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Blessed is the man. You know, it goes on like that. It was the second track after Kuvuna, I can't remember. But yeah, she writes beautiful songs.
In terms of when people say worship, they mean tempo. So they talk about the slow songs. The praise is the first songs. Though I like what you explained in the first half, that worship is it's not even music.
No.
It's beyond that.
No, it's a way of being and expressing and doing that constitutes your worship.
Have you written any songs that explain what worship is?
That's a very interesting question. An instructional song? Actually, no. If I remember, I will, but no. Almost like ABC teaches kids the alphabet kind of thing.
Okay, let's go into this worship conversation, especially because you are on the keys right now. From a musical perspective, explain to me, using some songs that you've done, how people can worship through being here, and what intentional things did you do in your music to make them
good point there. If you look at what they call the Tabernacle of Moses,